Chipotle. What are you gonna do, go to Taco Bell?
Chipotle has taken over a large portion of the Mexican fast food market. However, there are still some things they would like to keep under wraps. Here are 10 secrets Chipotle doesn't want you to know.
Welcome to Chipotle. Thank you for your bravery.
Portion sizes have been getting smaller.
What the y'all doing? Y'all rationing around here? Come on.
When you think about Chipotle, you probably think about fresh, healthy food. But the reality is something rather different. In fact, the portion sizes at Chipotle are significantly larger than those of its rivals. For example, a serving of rice is the size of a baseball, and a serving of beans is the size of a small watermelon. When it comes to healthy fast food, few chains have a better reputation than Chipotle. The chain has built its brand on using only fresh ingredients and serving up healthy and delicious fare. But if you've ever eaten at Chipotle, you may have noticed that the portions don't always seem to match up with the giant burrito reputation. For example, a single serving of barbacoa is only about 3 ounces of meat, and a sofritas taco only has about 7 ounces of tofu.
Wanting more. More.
Although the portions at Chipotle may seem substantial, the truth is, portions at Chipotle are actually pretty small. If you order a burrito, for example, you'll probably only end up with about half the amount of food you'd expect. With a decline in revenue ever since a serious E. coli outbreak in 2015, Chipotle has been slowly decreasing the portion sizes that they have become notorious for serving. Chipotle charges customers for their tortillas.
You need to pay us.
Hey.
The real secret to Chipotle's giant-looking portions is that the chain uses tiny tortillas. But the tiny size of the tortillas means that a single serving of food only has a tiny amount of meat or tofu in it. Even the so-called small taco at Chipotle only has about 7 ounces of tofu in it. The burritos, on the other hand, come in a tortilla so large that you would struggle to find any bigger. With a tortilla so big, Chipotle almost certainly tries to limit the amount of food inside, but the tortillas have a lot more room than that. So the next time that you go to Chipotle, think about how much of your meal is just tortilla. You're much better off ordering a burrito bowl if you're looking for a larger portion size of actual ingredients. A popular consumer trick has unfortunately been phased out at Chipotle Mexican Grill.
You are about to get a free lesson. Only this free lesson is going to cost you.
In 2020, the popular fast casual restaurant chain began charging a 25-cent surcharge to get a tortilla on the side, which they previously provided for free upon request. Customers have always praised the free tortilla as one of their favorite methods to receive more food from the eatery. Many people would order a burrito bowl with the free tortilla, which would result in more food being served. But sadly, those days are over. Chipotle's Brisket fell flat with customers.
2 thumbs down.
Back in the day, you could only get Chipotle's steak, chicken, and carnitas in a burrito or in a salad. Today, you can get almost any of Chipotle's meats as a taco or as a bowl. But one thing you couldn't get was barbecue. Until recently, fans were eagerly anticipating the chain's limited-time brisket release. And while it wasn't a complete failure, the new item wasn't a clear winner either. It was widely agreed that it was overly dry by those who tried it. You could get smoked brisket at Chipotle in a few different vessels. The chain recently introduced a line of barbecue bowls, and your choice of meat comes sandwiched between a heap of creamy slaw and a drizzle of barbecue sauce. It's the perfect way to get your brisket fix on the cheap.
Good deal.
Unfortunately, the chain decided that they will be pulling the new meat options sooner than expected due to supply chain issues, and probably in part due to the large amount of negative reviews that the entree received. Burritos and your daily fat intake.
Necesito burritos.
When you think of Chipotle, you think of fresh, healthy food. But the truth is, much of the food at Chipotle is processed, loaded with sodium and fat, and far from healthy. In fact, the burrito that you think is so good for you is the furthest thing from being healthy. We hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that seemingly innocent-looking carnitas burrito with brown rice and guac includes 49 grams of fat fat, not to mention its 970 calories and 94 grams of carbohydrates. Proceed with caution because that is well within the range of how much fat a person should ingest in a single day.
I need to eat 10,000 calories a day to maintain muscle mass.
A side of chips at 810 calories per large bag and a fully loaded burrito, which can easily contain over 1,200 calories, are two of Chipotle's most calorie-dense items. If you're watching your weight, check the brand's nutrition calculator to see how many calories each item contains. You'll discover that there are meals available that are under 500 calories. For example, a salad made with a leafy lettuce blend, cilantro, lime, cauliflower rice, black beans, fajita veggies, fresh tomato salsa, and guacamole contains 460 calories. Show your support by hitting that like button. We do appreciate it. Now, let's keep going.
The show goes on!
The restaurant chain has had issues with rodents.
Not a rat. No rat.
When Chipotle opened its first restaurant in Denver in 1993, nobody could have guessed that it would one day become one of the world's most successful food chains. Today, Chipotle has more than 2,300 locations across the United States, and it has become a household name synonymous with healthy, fresh Mexican-style food. But despite its reputation as a healthy option, Chipotle has been dogged by rumors of food safety issues and even rats in the kitchen. So how did Chipotle get into this mess in the first place? And what can customers expect going forward? In December of 2020, a Chipotle restaurant in New York City was forced to close after several employees were bitten by rats.
What?
The rodents even chewed the computer wires that were connected to the store's ordering system. But the final breaking point didn't occur until the workers could no longer fulfill the orders. The next time you decide to eat at Chipotle, you may want to be on the lookout for signs of rodents before biting into your delicious burrito. Chipotle has had some issues with E. coli outbreaks.
33 people died of E. coli.
There's a secret ingredient in Chipotle food that the company doesn't want you to know about. The famous burrito chain has been forced to disclose that its beef has been contaminated with E. coli bacteria more often than it would like to admit. The frequency of these E. coli outbreaks rises and falls with the beef industry's problems with the disease, so it's not clear whether Chipotle's supply is at the mercy of the weather or the beef industry's problems with keeping cattle healthy. But either way, the outbreaks are a public relations nightmare for the company.
It's too much! It's too much!
The E. coli outbreak that affected at least 20 states in the past has put a spotlight on the dangers of eating out. But did you know that the Chipotle outbreak has also been linked to one of its suppliers, and that the chain is doing everything possible to keep it a secret? The Chipotle E. coli outbreak that took place in 2015 is one of the most well-known outbreaks in the fast food industry. Over a single month, the chain was linked to a series of cases of E. coli across 9 different states. The chain took a hit to its reputation as a result, with many customers calling for a boycott of the chain. While the company continues to try and untarnish its reputation, some customers will never be going back to the chain because of these past failures. Chipotle has had some issues with discrimination.
I'm not eating racist salad.
In the fall of 2016, news broke that Chipotle had discriminated against dozens of applicants based on their race. The restaurant chain had allegedly turned away applicants whose names sounded Hispanic, even when they were qualified for the position. It seemed as if the company was hiding something. So when the manager of one of the locations where the discrimination occurred agreed to talk to reporters on the condition of anonymity, it was clear that something was amiss. You may think that a restaurant named Chipotle Mexican Grill would be interested in promoting Mexican and Latino culture, but recent events indicate otherwise. Chipotle chose to add a new twist to their dining experience in 2014, commissioning 10 writers to create new works that would be featured on Chipotle's bags and cups. With a list of famous contributors, not even one was a Mexican or Latino author.
You had one job. Just the one.
You'd think that enlisting Mexican artists to engage in an advertising campaign would be a no-brainer for a restaurant that makes a fortune copying Mexican cuisine. Chipotle, on the other hand, didn't see things the same way and appears to be exclusively concerned about profits. Chipotle guacamole is amazing. Until it isn't.
I know you're afraid of guacamole.
It's the devil's vomit.
For a long time, the chain was synonymous with its guacamole, and for good reason. The creamy avocado dip is the perfect complement to the chain's flavorful, delicious tacos and burritos. But the secret recipe guacamole is far from the only thing that has kept customers coming back for more. When it comes to guacamole, Chipotle has made it clear only certain items on its menu come with a side of guac. But the chain's decision to keep some of its guacamole recipes a secret is causing some customers to wonder, why is Chipotle so secretive about what's in its guacamole? It turns out the chain has good reason to keep some guac secrets under lock and key. Chipotle has always made a huge deal out of their guac, so when it suddenly becomes less than appealing, it stands out even more. Customers began to complain at the end of 2019 that the guac they were getting was brown, stringy, and downright unpleasant.
You're eating. He's eating it. I'm gonna throw up a little bit, I think.
The kind of nasty that made them wonder why Chipotle stores were still offering it. According to a prominent magazine, some establishments even stopped serving it, and the problem was far worse than first assumed. Images of individuals removing whole pieces of unripe avocado from their bowls and burritos flooded social media. Worst of all, Chipotle claimed that everything was normal. They claimed it was due to an annual turnover and avocado suppliers. In some cases, its employees aren't even allowed to offer customers a side of guac unless they specifically ask for it. Chipotle has dealt with many cases of sexual assault.
Unacceptable!
It's not just the food that's causing problems at Chipotle. The chain has been the site of numerous sexual assaults, including one in which an employee sexually assaulted a woman in a Chipotle bathroom, according to police reports. In another incident, a Chipotle manager was accused of sexually abusing and assaulting an employee. The manager was later arrested, but only after the woman went to the police. The horror stories keep coming. In the past few years, 3 women have told the press about being sexually assaulted at Chipotle. One says an employee groped her, another says a manager forced her to kiss him, and the third says an employee exposed himself to her. This isn't the first time women have complained of being sexually assaulted at Chipotle. Change starts at home, so maybe Chipotle needs to look in the mirror to make their restaurant experience safer. Chipotle faced a false advertising lawsuit.
You take one swing at me, I will sue you for all you're worth.
In addition to serving traditional Mexican fare, Chipotle offers a variety of limited-time menu items to keep things fresh. The latest addition, chorizo, is a savory sausage made with ground pork and spices. It's typically used as a taco filling, but you can choose to have it prepared in other forms. Chorizo is a great option if you're craving a meaty flavor without a lot of carbs. In 2016, Chipotle attempted to resurrect its dwindling appeal by introducing chorizo, the first new ingredient since 2014. In the beginning, everything was going well. Spicy chorizo is something that everyone enjoys. Unfortunately, in addition to the toasted cumin, Chipotle peppers, and 3 varieties of paprika added to the new enticement, Chipotle also included a large hand of blandness as well as an unusual number of mistruths. Chipotle's in-store advertising claimed that a burrito constructed with the new ingredient would only contain 300 calories.
100 minus 43, take the 1 from the 0. Wait.
Unfortunately, using Chipotle's own calculator to add together all of the proposed ingredients resulted in over 1,000 calories. Customers on Twitter were met with a half-baked Chipotle response, barely even apologizing for the large caloric misrepresentation.
I'm very disappointed in you.
We've got more. Just tap or click for another great video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell to join our notification squad. And hey, leave us a comment.